Hi, and welcome to the Bookish Stitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, Goodreads, and Periscope as Bookish Stitcher, all one word. I hope you've had a wonderful week since I last podcasted. This has been, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you, a very busy time of year for us. And I wanted to say that I hope everyone who celebrated Hanukkah this last week had a wonderful Hanukkah, and we are having a good Christmas season. It's been my husband's work Christmas party was on Friday, and we went. We don't normally go because I'm not much for dressing up really fancy, although it was nice this time. I had a cloak and a very Asian, Japanese kind of inspired dress, and it was nice. The cloak was so soft, and people kept coming up and petting me, which was interesting. But his Christmas party at his work there's a lot of employees and they bring all their spouses. So before they let you into the main ballroom area to eat, everybody, I don't know, it feels like it probably is hundreds of people are packed into this hallway. So you're jammed in like little sardines, and I don't work there. So I don't know 99.9% of these people. I've heard my husband talk about them, but that was about it. And the only person I really knew there was my friend Tanya, who is from Russia, and I got to talk to her a little bit and speak a little bit of Russian, and we made plans to meet up because she and I are going to work on some translating letters that I need to finish up because I have a whole bunch to do. But so it was really good to see her, and it was a great dinner. They had a vegetarian option for us that was very yummy. It was quinoa and black beans and carrots done into like a little loaf thing. And my husband celebrated 10 years at his work, and so he got a trophy, a little like plaque kind of, I don't know, it's not like really a trophy, it's just like a thing. And I'm very proud of him. He's such an amazing man, and he's so loyal and very hardworking, and he always tries his best and is very dedicated to he's a perfectionist and wanting to get stuff right. So it was just really great to get to see him up on the stage smiling and getting his award. And so it was a good night, especially once we got into the ballroom area where you were seated for dinner and it wasn't crowded. That was nice when you weren't in the crowded hallway waiting to get in. And then Saturday, we had a party with a whole bunch of my mom friends that I've known from a playgroup that I've been in since my son was little. And I knit them all washcloths, and I did a shower gel, and I tied it together with a little ribbon and a little card, and I gave it to them. And they were very happy, and they asked if next year they could have more socks. So next year I'll be knit, because the year before, 2014, I knit them all socks. And they were saying that their husbands now are like, you need to wash those socks. You wear them too much. And I'm like, but these are my only Jeanette socks, so I need to knit them. Maybe they just want Christmas socks every year instead of I was trying to go easy on it for myself to just knit them washcloths, but I guess I'll do socks every year because they love those so much, and I have sock yarn I can knit up for them. And then I went and saw some friends and had some time together on Saturday night. So it's just been busy, busy, busy. And today we've been running around like crazy. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to podcast, which is weird because I have not missed a week. But this week I was like, I might not be able to do this. So jumping in here in between craziness. And because last week I had just cast on all new projects, I don't have any finished objects this week. The crazy week, which is the crazy, unlike Jeanette week. But I do have a whole bunch of things where there's two of them, like socks or fingerless wrister things, where half of it's done. And I just wanted to show you guys new mug. This is from Knit Picks. And I did a Knit Picks order on Cyber Monday. On Cyber Monday, I placed order from two different places. Knit Picks, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not even going to bring it down for the enabling part. I showed a picture on Instagram, but it's all for presents and sweaters for my son and for my daughter. But this was the only thing I got for me, and I love it. And today I'm drinking some Trader Joe's gingerbread latte with almond milk, and it's really good. Nice and warm. The weather's here been going from the mid-80s Fahrenheit to now it's in the 50s Fahrenheit, so I don't even know what the weather thinks it's doing. but I'm going to show you the works I did this week in order from what I did the least on to what I did the most on. So first up, in my Bling Your String bag is the Joyful Joyful hat by Megan Williams, and this is out of some Collinette Jitterbug, one of my oldest skeins. And as it's knitting up, it's funny because the way this hat is made, you do the inside brim. So last week I had just barely cast on. There was just a tiny bit of this hat. So I knit the entire inside, and then I created this welt right here, and now I am into the actual pattern part of the hat. And then after this part is done, they have to meet each other up, so I have a ways to go. But then after that, you get to hold the fingering weight yarn doubled, and then the rest of the hat will zoom. And I just thought it was so funny. I cast on All New Project last week, but I cast on all fingering weight projects on tiny needles. So there was no way there was going to be finished objects this week, especially since some of my family was sick this week, and so I was being nurse, and so there were 3 days that there was no knitting done at all. I was just too tired. And this hat was going to originally be for me, but I now think it's going to be for my best friend's husband because she's coming into town next week, and I'm so excited. But we were talking, and she was saying that I knit him a hat for Christmas last year, and she was saying that he wears it all the time. And his friends are like, "Oh, I like that hat. That's really cool." And he's like, "Yeah, my wife's best friend knit it for me with her hands." And she and I were laughing hysterically over that. Like, what else would she have knit it with? I guess there's arm knitting, but really, what else? I joked with her. I said, "I'm knitting it with my mind. I have mind knitting powers. That would be amazing." Because then the projects that you aren't in love with anymore, you could just knit them with your mind and they'd be done. But that was the joke. So this will probably go to him because it looks, as it's knitting up, it looks very kind of camo to me, and I am not a camo girl in any way, shape, or form. But he is, because he has a deer lease, and he likes to do that kind of stuff, so I think he might like it. And my husband said that it could be definitely a guy hat. So I'll show it to her when she's in town and ask her what she thinks. I don't know if it'll be done, though, in time for them to see it. And then the next thing, let's go with this. In my Mina Makes bag, I'll show you guys. I finished, these are from my mother-in-law, and these are from the Norwegian Knits book. I finished one of the wristers. And I actually, they're kind of snug, but I feel like, does that look okay? I feel like it looks nice. Tell me what you think. Did I do a good, I hope that she'll like it, but can you see does the color work look okay? Because I think that the white yarn was a little bit plumper than the blue yarn. And it's a little snug, but I think she'll want them snug. And also, my row gauge, which really couldn't be helped, it was pretty long. This is a long thing, but yep, I'm happy one's done. I may be knitting on these on Christmas Eve frantically because this takes a while. And I found out after I had a tiny little ball of white yarn, scrap yarn, I thought it would be enough based on what some people had said, how much they had used in project pages. I always read the notes for those. But I weighed my ball beforehand on my scale, and then I weighed it after I finished. There's not enough left. So I went to the yarn store today just to get a skein so I could finish this project since it's a Christmas one. And I just picked up, these aren't even the same yarns, but the ply structure is similar. They're both a 4-ply, and they're both kind of a plump. They're both white. I think it's going to be blown out, but I think I did a pretty good job picking a similar. And this is Sublime yarn. And it was funny because I was going into the yarn store and my son said, because the family was all in the car, my husband and myself and my 2 kids, and my son was like, "Can I go in the yarn store with you?" And I said, "Yes, you can go in, but I'm not buying you anything because you haven't finished your project." And he goes, okay, I just want to look. I just want to look. So we're in there, and he sees this blue yarn, and he said, I have my money with me, and he was determined to find something that he could afford. So he found a blue yarn that cost just $5, and he was adorable, and he went up there and paid for it and got out his Star Wars Lego Star Wars wallet, and was giving the lady at the counter, one of my people I know, because I know the people at that yarn store because I love them, he was giving these $1 bills, and he bought his yarn. He was very proud. He's like, now what can I make with this? So who knows? I told him he could make mittens or hats. He said, oh, I think I have enough hats, which I want to knit him more hats. I have yarn to knit him more hats, but so he might knit himself some mittens if he ever finishes his scarf. But so that'll be finished hopefully pretty soon, or at least before Christmas. That's the deadline. And then the next thing in my the Tangled Skein CA bag, I have my Christmas socks and also my Sparkle Cowl socks. And these are in some Fiber Nymph dye works. The elves were in the eggnog. I finished the first one. I don't have sock blockers. I'll have them when I finish both. Super sparkly. And these colors are just so happy and Christmassy to me. It's funny because they're not traditional red and green, but I kind of like this better. And the cuff, I did get the green and the white, but I'm okay with that. Could not be helped. And so then I started the next sock. And I'm doing these a little bigger, a little more stitch count than I normally do because I want them to be really cozy. And I think they will definitely be done in time to wear for Christmas. And the way, I don't know if I've ever said this, but the way I always do my socks, as you can probably see, is on 2 circular needles, toe up, if they have stripes. If they have a pattern, I normally do them on DPNs, cuff down, which is so odd and random, but that's how I do it. And then the last work in progress has been getting a lot of love because this has just been so comforting and soothing for me this week. And the rows are getting longer, so the cake of yarn is getting smaller and smaller, and I'm absolutely loving that. This is in the Halsey yarn bag. Beautiful, kind of. And again, not traditional Christmas colors, but I really like it. And this is my Reyna shawl, which is the it's spelled R-E-Y-N-A, and I don't remember who designed it, sorry. And the yarn I'm also using up another of my 15 oldest skeins. And this is Sock Pixie, and it is in the Lady in the Aqua Room color. I don't know if she's still making yarn, dyeing yarn, but I forgot to look that up. And this has gotten huge. I don't know if I should have had a progress. Well, I can show you just my hand, but you can see clanging needles everywhere. You can see that it's gotten a lot bigger, and that's the back side. So, not that it really matters on this kind of thing, but there it is. And last week, I had just a little small triangle. So I had all that this week, and it's going to be nice and big. I'm going to go till I completely run out of the yarn. I'm not going to try to save enough for a square on my sock yarn blanket or anything. I just want to use it all up. And I am on the last mesh. It goes and it alternates in rows of garter stitch and then these mesh sections. And I'm on the last section of the mesh. And then there's just a couple rows of garter and it's done. So who knows? Maybe if, nobody in my family gets sick again this week and I don't have to, be constantly on call with that, then maybe all these will be done and there will be all new projects. But note to myself, if I start all new projects next week, don't start all fingering weight projects on tiny needles because you won't have any finished objects the next time. And so that's all my works in progress. For spinning, I am plying right now that bat and the giant one that I talked about, so I didn't bring it down, but it is going to take forever because I'm chain plying and I'm trying to go very, very slowly to ensure that I don't break. Because right now it's just a single, so I don't know if this makes sense, but it's just a single, so it could easily break if you pull it and if it's not strong enough. But when you've added the chain and the twist of the new ply, it gives it strength to the yarn. So once it's done, it'll be very strong, but right now it's delicate. So I'm trying to be careful and go very slow and take my time, because I don't know what I would do if it broke in the middle, because while I am very experienced at, well, for as experienced as you can get having been spinning for less than a year at 2-ply, chain plying or 3-plying is not something I've really done much. I've done a tiny bit, but that's spinning. For group news, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone. I asked last week for help with maybe moderating some of the group. I got so many responses, and that's just wonderful, because it's hard to put yourself out there because you worry that you'll hear crickets, you'll say something, you chirp, chirp, chirp. But so many of you guys wrote me back, and even some of you that wrote were ones that moderate your own groups that are hugely busy and different things, or moderate several groups. So I feel like a slacker. I can't, that I need. But anyways, so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I will definitely be writing you guys, maybe, because there's a bunch of new threads that need to go up in the group for new things that are coming up. So maybe if there's something that, if you've volunteered to help out as a moderator and you hear me talking about one of these things and you think, I would love to do that, that sounds right up my alley, then just shoot me a message or write me a message, and you can do that one, because that would be a great help. But there's going to be the short story read along for next year, so I'm going to need to put up a thread for that. And in that, I would just love your suggestions. I know some people put up suggestions in last week's episode, but I'm going to start a thread, and we're just going to put out a whole bunch of suggestions. And then once we have out all our suggestions, I'll put up a poll, and we'll vote on the top 12 that we would like to read. So if there's anybody that would love to open that thread and kind of help moderate with that, and I'll be adding you guys to the moderating thing. And then we're going to be doing next year, I can't remember what it's called. I'll know for sure next week. But if you would like to, knitting some things for that orphanage, for orphanages in Russia that I talked about, with 100% wool or very warm fabrics, and they're looking for like socks, it can even be worsted weight, or vests, or anything for little kids. And so I open up a thread for that. And then in the new year, I'll be talking more about this as it gets closer. We're going to be doing a shawl knit along with some amazing ladies, and I'll talk about that when we get closer, like I said. But so we're going to open up a thread for that, and I thought it would be fun to do a little pattern giveaway before that actually opens, so before that actually starts. So if there's a pattern that you've been wanting to knit a shawl, then I can open up a thread and you can potentially win that pattern. And so what I thought I would do, since it's the holiday time and kind of paying it forward, because this is one of my favorite things to do, like if you're in line at Starbucks or something to buy the person behind you in line, and I don't go there often enough, that's a big deal. If I went every day, it would be a big, I wouldn't do that probably, or I couldn't afford to, but I just go once a week or less. But so anyways, I was going to say, if you have a friend that loves to knit shawls, and what you can do is tag them in the thing and say, like, I would like, and it has to be a pattern of $7 or less, and you can say, I would like to knit this shawl, and so would my friend, and I would like my friend to get this shawl too. So you can tag anybody. They don't have to be in the group to win. If you want to enter to win, then you do have to be a member of the group, but your friend doesn't have to be a member of the group. It's fine. But so that way somebody can have a chance to win a shawl pattern before we start the shawl knit along. And I think it's going to be fun. I like shawls, so I'm excited about that. And it was actually my friend Heidi, who does Undead Yarn, who asked me to do that with her and a few other girls. So it's going to be exciting. And then other group news. We have 2 giveaways going on in the group right now. One for the 700 member prize, and then the Tangled Skein CA bag, and it's for a bag of your choice, and all the details are over there in the thread, and I will draw for that next week. So if you haven't entered, go ahead and go do that if you would like to. And there's also a coupon code for that right now, Bookish15 with a capital B, for 15% off your order. And that is all of the group news that I can remember right now. the Sparkle Cal is still going, and it will be ending at the end of this month, and I'll draw prizes and everything. So on to enabling. I got given one cute thing from a friend this week, and it was this little Notions pouch. My friend has an Etsy shop, and I have been meaning to buy one of her bags because I have bags for most of my friends, but I just haven't done this. But she makes the little knit clip things, and I have some of hers. But it's Lisetta's Armoire, and this is a Dia de los Muertos bag, and it's very cute because it sits up. And if you can see, so your Notions can kind of sit up there, and a little yellow zipper with a little swan, which I think is her personal logo thing that she does. And then I mentioned last month that the Bags by Awesome Granny group is doing socks knit along, and every month they pick a different kind of sock pattern or different sock company sponsor, and then they knit socks for that month, and then you can win a little prize. And so I knit the simple Skype socks last month out of some of Heidi's yarn, Heidi Undead yarn, in the Monster High colorway, and I won the prize. And so I got to pick, and I love this nautical theme. And I actually may have a custom bag coming from her in a Russian winter. It's like Russian folk art, and it's a winter print, and it's so pretty, and I'm excited. And you'll see that when it comes. I just really wanted a winter sweater bag. So, and then the last thing for enabling is I am in the Gail's Art Sock Blank Club, and it's a 3-month club. I showed you guys the Fallen Leaves one, and then this one came, and it is the second one, and there's just one more and it's done. But this month, the December one, is the reason why I joined the club, because I really wanted this one. And she sends a quote every time in a little thing. It says, "All heaven and earth, flowered white, obliterate snow, unceasing snow." A haiku by Hashem. And it came with a little jewelry thing by Everyday Peacocks. If you can see that. It's gorgeous. It's a snowflake. There's a jewel in the middle of it. A little very pale blue jewel. And this is by everydaypeacocks.com. And then the special snowflake color. So exciting. Look at this. So gorgeous. I mean, this is the reason why I wanted to get this club, because how could you not want this one? It's so exciting. And that is all of the enabling. Like I said, I placed one more order for Cyber Monday, and it just seems like this time of year I go yarn shopping. But my husband was like, "Tell me what you want for Christmas." So I sent him some things, some yarn that I would have probably bought myself. And I said, "Here, these are what I would like." So he just takes them when they get here, the orders, and wraps them and puts them under the tree. So it's like I get to kind of guide him, go to this dye, or I like these skeins. And so I get the ones that I like, but then he gets to get presents for me, because sometimes he has trouble picking out presents. I remember one year my present for Christmas was a vacuum. So it works for both of us if I kind of help guide him in the Christmas present shopping. Now the book for this week. I'm doing something a little bit different because I normally review one book, but I'm just going to go ahead and review a trilogy that I just recently finished. So this trilogy is called the Century Trilogy, and it is by Ken Follett. Here's going to be tiny images. You can see my window with my little owl branch thing, but okay, so it's a trilogy, like I was saying, and it's by Ken Follett, and I think he's really well known for The Pillars of the Earth, which is a medieval trilogy, which is enormous, and I have also read that one. And I highly enjoyed that one, but this one I loved. And it starts off with Fall of Giants, and it goes to Winter of the World, and it ends with Edge of Eternity. And Fall of Giants takes place in 1911. And the amazing thing about these stories is that it follows 5 families in different countries all around the world for a certain length of time. So you get to see the generational changes and how the families' roles interconnect with other families across the globe. And if you're a history lover, oh my gosh, because it talks about different history stuff from the time period. So the different places where this is all taking place is the US, Germany, England, and Russia. Russia, I had to be excited about that. So it starts off right before World War I, and the first story deals with World War I. And the thing that I loved about it is seeing, because as a history person, I know what's coming up. I know, like, okay, this is how they get into the war. This is what happens during the war. And so seeing how he was going to tie the families into that and how he was going to bring it about and add his own twist of the fiction into the factual events was very interesting. And he does his research, and he's very thorough. These are 1,000-page books or more, so I've invested many hours in this trilogy because I've read over, I think it's over 3,000 pages to read the entire thing. Don't let that deter you. They're good. They just take a while to read. And then the next one, Winter of the World, has the same families, but it's the next generation, and it's during World War II. And so you kind of get that taste of he tells you a little bit about the last generation. They're still alive typically, and you still get to hear about what's going on with them, but it delves mainly into what is going on with it's always about the younger, current generation, the younger ones. And so that's World War II and different stuff with that. And then I just finished a month ago, Edge of Eternity, and that was interesting because it dealt with Martin Luther King, it dealt with Vietnam, it dealt with Cuban Missile Crisis, all kinds of Nixon, all kinds of things. And I actually learned a lot that I didn't know, because when I hear something and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I will go and research it. That's just the type of person I am. But so if I were to place these books in order of how much I liked them, I rated them on Goodreads. Fall of Giants, the first book, I gave 4 stars. Winter of the Worlds, which is the second one during World War II, I gave 5 stars. And then Edge of Eternity, which takes place in the latter years of the 20th century, I gave a 3-star. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't as interested in the historical aspects of that time period. But his writing about the Russian area is just amazing, and he does a very good job of portraying people that you would typically see as like, oh, well, that's the bad guy. No, they're people. They're not a bad guy. There are bad guys in the group of people, but there are amazingly good people too, and there are people that don't agree with the bad things that are happening, and you can't clump the entire thing into this one. So he does a very good job of making you realize the good and the bad on both sides. There is no good guys. There are no bad guys. There are good guys and bad guys within all these different countries. And I really like that, how he gave that human element to each of the countries and really made it very personal. He's a brilliant writer, and the fact that he can write these books that are over 1,000 pages, just that he dedicates that much, and he's done it before with the Pillars of the Earth, it just really says to me that he cares a lot about making these epic stories of epic scope. And so that is all I have for this week. But I did want to ask you guys, it's kind of interesting, I was thinking about, if you would pick like your favorite, so there was going to be a thing like this, like the Century Trilogy, that would be your favorite, most interesting topic to you, what would you pick? Like, what time period would it be? Would it be the 20th century, the 19th century, the 18th, 17th, back? And what countries would be the most interesting to you? Because like I said, when I found out, when it said that Russia was one of the countries, it's like, I'm reading it. And so I would have loved for France to be included in that, or Japan or something, just different countries where I know the language. I don't speak any German, so that one wasn't as a draw to me. But if you were to pick different countries that you're really interested in, time periods that you're really interested in, I would love for you to put that in the episode thread for this week, and I'll write it up there so you can see just in case you forget. But that's all I have. And until next week, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.